Right, good day all. So this video is about learning to stand up for yourself, right? Learning to stand up for yourself. And it's for people dominating people in religion or outside of religion, right? Who tend to see people, and especially this one is for my Hindu girls, right? Hindu Indian girls, right? This one is for all your quiet Hindu. Well, all you know, I ain't quiet no more, right? In fact, since Ashta, since a girl mispronounced my name and called me as my private part, well, I get bad, right? Um, but anyhow, this is for my Hindu girls, quiet girls, lower class category, middle class category, right? Or even upper class category, right? Who people tend to take advantage of just because of the way how you just look, right? Because you're looking quiet, because you're looking like a little, what they think a little stupid is, or because you're living in the country, a country bookie, right? They think that you're stupid, you're dotish, you can't stand up for yourself, and they could do you anything, right? Of whoever race, of whoever religion, right? People who just always receive this for people, right? Who always receive. I'm talking specifically to certain Hindu girls and anybody in general who tend to always get it shitty under the stick with regard to life experiences, right? And it has to do with bullying and being taken advantage of, right? Bullying and being taken advantage of. Now, something happened to me, right? Well, I've been talking about what happened to me, but this thing now is from a religious perspective, right? Now, I grew up Hindu and I really identified growing because I like a religion growing up. But you know, you always have an element in your background, right? Regardless of what, yeah, like if people born Roman Catholic, Hindu, Muslim, whatever, like even if you just like I know a lecturer in my school past, right? He's atheist, but he still have a Muslim symbols in the car, right? So like regardless of what path you take in life, it is always kind of fall back onto your religion at some point of remembrance or whatever. So you know, like I like kind of like what religion, but I also say, hey, well, as Vedic then, basically, right? So this for people who take advantage of people when it's not their religion, right? When it's not their religion, right? So this thing happened to me where I would have created, right, several things in life, right? My poetry book, I would have endeavored to create a couple businesses, right? I would have created a third book through the help of God, that is the third book, right? The first one I would have done on my own. The second, the couple businesses I started on my own. And the third book, God helped me to create a book called Surrender to the Call as the second book, right? um I don't know whether I'll be coming out of that book because they'll come and say, Satan write the book now, right? But the book was written through the power of God, not through my own power. That's the third book, right? That is, well, after my auto, I would have created my autoethnography, right? As self-reflective work as part of my master's, right? So I would have created a lot of things by writing, right? I would have created a lot of writings in my life, right? Done a lot of work on myself. And then you have a group of people choosing you in order to invalidate your own self, right? So this video is about standing up and taking your stance with regard to that position, right? Why would a group of people choose you out of everybody? Look, I have several different Muslim acquaintances and stuff, right? Why did you not choose one of them to invalidate their own business? I purchased stuff from my Muslim friend with her business and stuff. Why would you choose me, right? To invalidate my whole talent and my whole writings and my whole talents, right? And be a prophet for that religion, right? And not choose a Muslim to invalidate their own business, right? And sit down and teach the Quran. That is my question, right? That is my question, right? Why did you choose to do that to me? Am I somebody who you see or your religion see? Oh, I could just pick she and take advantage of she just because I want to. Just because I want to, just because I bored and just because I want to. Just because I'm looking for somebody to pick on, just because I want somebody to bully, right? What would cause you to have that kind of mindset? So this one is therapy for Muslims, right? This one is therapy for Muslims, right? What would elite Muslims is, right? Because I don't know if Muslims on the ground, right? Just be thinking this way, right? But what would cause you? There are so many businesses. Muslims own so many businesses in society, right? Internationally and locally, right? What would cause you to pick me, right? With my level, and I consider myself talented in writing, right? I consider myself talented in writing. What would cause you to pick me to invalidate an entire book and two good solid pieces of writing that I have regarding my life, right? in order to promote your religion, right, and do nothing, right, and leave Muslims to run their business, run their cake businesses, run their bakery businesses, right? What would possess people to do something like that? I like to see people thriving with their work. I love to see people. I have absolutely no ill will, no jealousy, no envy, zero envy in my heart with regard to people thriving businesses, whatever. But when you see one damn thing being done to me and taken advantage of in that manner, it means that's something tremendously wrong with all your mentors, right? It have something wrong with all your mentors, right? Something wrong with all your mentors, there's something wrong with all your religion too, right? Because you're allowing them to continue doing that. Why not force them to isolate and teach the Quran too? Why not shut down their businesses and make them teach the Quran too? Why not force them to isolate and teach the Quran as well? Because I am a normal human being, I am a normal human being. All you're pushing this way too fucking far, right? And I do agree with it. All you're taking things that, like I said, in the book says Muslims as they find Muslims. That's what I tell earlier. People would trample upon every single body in the world. Top level Muslims, right, will trample upon every single fucking body in the world. All you have no idea what was done to me, right? People would trample upon everybody in the world, right? And they're telling you this, they're telling me is, all for this person to do this, all for this person to do that, right? Bypassing me now, right? And saying, oh, it's all for XYZ person to do this, it's all for XYZ person to do that. Why not go to that person directly and do what you had to do? I for all my life, I just been motivating people to push forward, right? I have a good Muslim friend, right? Well, have whoever it is, right? I should be motivating she every day to move forward, propel yourself forward, do what is propelling yourself forward, right? And then to have to face up with this thing and people saying that now I have jealousy, I envy in my heart for what other people shutting down my stuff. Or shutting down my stuff, forcing me to teach the book and leaving other people for their businesses to thrive. Now, if my business gets shut down, everybody want how to get shut down from elite to lower class to everybody, right? That not making sense. That not making sense at all. Here what? Teach the Quran and then go and then go and open back your bakery business, right? And that'll go from lower class all the way to the top, right? Because you know what? That what happened to me was religious. I taking advantage of people from a religious perspective and bullying people and picking on people from a religious perspective. Right? Picking on and bullying people from a religious perspective because I think people are stupid, not going to stand up for themselves and don't have the ability to stand up for themselves. Right? And I do operate that way. Right?